Pre-show. We're live. This is the pre-show. Welcome. Boom.
Okay. I don't even have the camera on right now. I can just hear our voice.
Get that camera on,
It's
son.
secret. Just want to see the audio. You have audio? We do. It sounds great.
Good.
Okay. Now we're ready.
All right, we ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Three-Step Flop. We've been on a bit of a hiatus. Crisp. We've been out for what, 2 weeks now, Tony?
We just missed 1 week.
1 week.
Yeah, because of
1
your
week.
Asheville trip and my inability to
Schedule
find,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize because I did say I was going to get a guest, and I'm pretty sure Aaron would have been available, but my week last week for work was shit and
That's
hell
all right.
while you guys were living it up.
That's
So,
all right. It was a fun vacation. The commish was with us. Taylor,
Yes.
Lauren. It was a good time.
I'm glad you guys had fun, drank a lot of beers.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But we're back. I feel out of the loop because I did not watch a lot of football this week,
Yeah,
and I didn't watch a lot of football last week.
Great.
So
perfect.
I don't really know what I'm doing hosting a football podcast
Once
here.
again,
But
the two best people. I've watched only Bengals games the last 2 weeks because the MLB playoffs is on, and that's what we should all be watching.
okay, anyway, not a baseball podcast,
Wow,
but
not even going to indulge me there.
whatever.
Okay.
Nope, I'm not. Let's just get to the hot topic of the moment and talk about your
Yes.
night
Let's
last
start
night.
with the most recent football news.
Right. We're kind of skipping ahead into week 7
Yeah,
when we
that's
should be
fine.
talking about other weeks, but that
We technically should save this for next week, but I think
fuck it.
because it's so incredible,
Monumentous.
it's worth talking about.
Yeah, I think you set a record last night with 62 points.
I don't think it hasn't been. I don't know if anybody's gone back and verified that, but Brian did guess that was the all-time record.
I believe it is the all-time high.
It feels good. I gotta say, when I saw I didn't know what the Thursday night game was until Brian posted the two quarterbacks that were playing, and I liked both of them. Liked them both.
Mhm.
I think I was. Let's see, where was I?
You were behind.
That's last week.
I want to say you were 5th.
No, I was lower than that. I'm sorry. I meant like where I was picking in the draft order.
Oh.
I was like 8th or 9th, I think.
You were just above. You were 10th.
10th.
You
Okay.
were just above me. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, so I was 10th. Brian was 9th. So he had preferential treatment over me. We both liked Case Keenum. So Brian got Keenum. I was the only one to like Rosen, which, guys, come on.
I know.
What are you doing?
I was below you, so the blood is not on my hands.
There's nothing you could do about that. You saw that we both
Mhm.
that we liked, or that I liked him at least in that. So it was irrelevant for you to do anything. Josh Rosen, man, the Cardinals were so bad last night. It's hard to blame it all on Josh Rosen. It seems like just a total offensive meltdown. I didn't watch the game, of course, but what I did read a lot of people saying that even though they were getting their asses kicked, they just kept running the ball right up the middle, like over and over again. And I guess every time they passed it, Josh Rosen threw a pick because he threw 2 pick sixes in the first quarter. So
pick sixes.
yeah,
2 pick sixes in the first quarter.
very happy with that.
That's insane.
You also have to be happy with and take note of the fact that he was sacked 6 times. So going forward, I feel like sometimes people overlook the sack portion of points because right there, that's 2 points a sack, right? So that's 12
Right.
points.
Offensive line needs to be a huge factor in your
Yeah.
decision making.
Well, once again, across all types of fantasy, not even in fantasy, just in real football, I really think that pretty much all that matters is having a good offensive line and being able to rush the passer on defense. And if you can do those 2 things, the rest of your team doesn't really matter that much. You have to have a competent quarterback. I'm not saying that you have to have, you can just throw out anybody, but if you have those 2 things, you're off to a good start.
Absolutely.
You have a couple weapons on offense. That's all you need. So keep that in mind. The Cardinals do have David Johnson, who's one of the I think that's his name. Yeah, David Johnson, who's one of like the best running backs in the league. Got to feel bad for that guy because he just keeps getting his shit pushed in because everybody knows that they can't throw the ball. And also Larry Fitzgerald, that's the guy I feel the worst for because he's
very competent. He's very good.
Well, yeah, he's just been on the Cardinals forever. He's never won a Super Bowl, and it seems like the Cardinals kind of sold him the fact that they were going to be competitive this year, and they're just clearly not.
Right.
So, sorry, Larry Fitz, you're gonna have to wait another year. I think he's like 35 now, so he's getting to the end of his career.
Now, I want to mention that despite your crazy 62-week point, you are still behind John by about 8 points, and you're a week ahead of him.
Yeah, let me pull up the standings here. Yeah, so John obviously has been fortunate to have some really nice
three auto drafts in a row, I believe.
I think that sounds about right. And that's helped him out immensely, especially the Blake Bortles 50-point week that he put up 2 weeks ago, I think that was, or last week.
Yeah. Well, let's find out. We've got the numbers.
Yeah, so now it is nice to see that
last week he had 35 this week and 50 last week.
Okay.
And 21 the week before.
Yeah, damn. Yeah.
And, oh, my God. John's just crushing us right now with an average of 24 points a week.
John is the SBD player. He is silent but deadly. And
I want to commission a rule.
We're now trying to create rules
for next year.
Make sure
for next year, if you auto draft 3 weeks in a row, you lose 5 points. I don't know.
So as long as you go auto draft, pick, auto draft, pick. So there's no total because what I was going to suggest was 5 auto drafts over the course of a year, which I think is better because
that is better.
It does kind of force you to be somewhat active.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get up to 4, then you really you're in danger of being
5
literally
auto drafts
kicked.
And then you're done. You're out.
You're out of the league. Yeah.
I like this.
Your point total freezes at where it is, and that's all you get.
I like it.
So this sounds a little retaliatory. Is that a word?
It definitely is.
But it is.
That's why we would enact it next year.
Right. We're not gonna change the rules in the middle of the season. Obviously, that would be a heresy.
Not that we have any say in how the rules change.
I like to think we have a little pool since we have the airwaves to broadcast out to. But yeah, I think that would be a good thing to vote on in the off season.
Agreed.
We can talk about that. We can cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right.
Now, I will say that just because I had a big week, I am aware of the fact that the rest of you still get a quarterback this week. So I look like I'm sitting pretty well here in second place, but obviously Austin's just only 17 points behind me, so he could very easily surpass me. You could even surpass me if you had a killer week as well.
It would have to be insane.
It would have to be a great week. I think that other than that, I'm safe. So at worst, I'm going to be in fourth place after this week.
So funny thing in terms of the standings, Taylor and I exactly flipped before last night because you are now a game ahead of us.
Yeah.
Taylor was in third and I was in seventh, and now before last night I was in third and she was in seventh. So we just totally flip flopped.
That's kind of Well, yeah, and that was after. God, we got a ghost coming in here.
Yeah, man.
That was after you on the last podcast had predicted that this was Taylor's year, and she quickly proved that to be not the case. So, Taylor, you gotta change it up a little bit. Maybe try a different strategy than you've previously been using. But still, that's right in the thick of it. You got all those people right in the middle here, really from Drew down to. I mean, I don't know how low you want to go here, but we got 60, 60, 60, 60, 56. So that's a tight little spot here.
You mentioned if Brian would have taken Rosen.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Brian did claim Case Keenum, but did not claim Josh Rosen. Brian was one spot above me in the draft order. So he could have had his pick of either one of those guys. He decided to go with Keenum. If Brian would have gotten Rosen, instead of being where he is now in last still, despite having a player play last night, he would be in fifth right now.
That shows you how tight the middle of the pack really is.
Yeah. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's because I added. Wait, is this? No, I'm right. That's right.
Yeah, that's his current
I'm right. Yep.
score.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. So, yeah, so that just goes to show you that even though I predicted a couple weeks ago that Brian was done, if he would have, all it takes is a huge, giant week like that, and you're right back in it. Fortunately for me, I made sure that didn't happen to him.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, good for you. It's good to see that us two are in the top 4. I always like to see that, the people putting in the work are up at the top, unlike John.
Right.
I wish Brian was up here with us because we know
Also
he's working hard.
Clearly, the amount of work I've put in is evidenced by all the cables that you see in my bedroom right now. So it just goes to show you hard work pays off.
It does. So you mentioned sacks earlier. You said you had what? Rosen had 6 sacks?
Yep.
I want you to take a guess of how many sacks Marcus Mariota had last week. Marcus Mariota was my quarterback.
I'm going to say 7.
Higher.
Holy shit. How many?
Keep guessing.
8.
Higher.
9.
Higher.
10.
Higher.
11.
11 sacks.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay.
Bring it up.
That is, I believe you. But I just want to very quickly check the NFL record for single game sacks because that's got to be close to it. Let's see. This might be harder to find than I thought. But that is insane. That just goes to show you that the Tennessee offensive line is garbage trash. And also, Marcus Mariota has basically just been taking shots from defensive linemen since he came out of college. So
it was a great pick for me because I'm tooting my own horn here. But I moved up, I think, 8 draft value points there. So he was pretty low in the draft, and I got 26.6 points out of him.
Unreal.
So I'm really happy with that pick.
That's crazy. Shit. This should be easier to find.
You're finding defensive players with
this is just individual players. Well, we'll figure that out, I guess, at some point and let you know. But I gotta think that's up there.
I know.
Because that is absurd.
I mean, that's 22 of my points are from sacks.
Yeah.
I got 26 points, and 22 of them are from sacks.
So he must have had a decent game otherwise.
He had 5 incompletions, a fumble, 117 passing yards, and 2 rushing attempts. So, yeah, he didn't 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. It's really just the sacks and the fumble that got me.
That's hilarious.
Got me points.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, this gives you, I guess, a little bit of an idea of how the day went for the Titans. This guy did a great job demonstrating that with this flag that he attempted to hold up. Here's attempt number 1. It's upside down and backwards, so he flips it around. Still upside down, no longer backwards though. I guess he attempted again and went back to the original. And now here's attempt number 4, and now he's got it. Okay,
there you go.
Good job. Oh no, I'm sorry,
no,
he still doesn't
wrong.
have it. Now it is. So it was 5 attempts there.
Oh, Tony, you've got the audio going. What is wrong?
It's the guy talking in the background of that clip. Whatever. Good job. That was the only clip I had from that game. So
that's a good one.
Not that eventful.
That's a good one.
But the guy, you got to give it up to him. He didn't give up.
No. Who should we talk about now here? Let's take a look at last week. We should talk about Lauren, because Lauren did not play her quarterback.
That's right. Lauren said she realized at 1:01 p.m. on Sunday, as you guys were headed back from Asheville, that she had forgotten to play her quarterback. Now, what?
Let me see how many points.
Yeah, I was gonna
say
here. What did that mean for her?
She had Derek Carr. Ooh.
Oh, who got his? Derek
Carr had 25 points. That would have been a game changer for Lauren right there.
That I feel sorry for you.
I respect you for realizing at 101 and leaving your quarterback on the bench instead of sneaking him onto the bench, or I don't even know if that's possible.
No, I don't think so.
It isn't?
I think once it's 1 o'clock, it just locks and you can't do that.
Okay, well, I don't respect you anymore.
Well, so if she would have put him in, what's her team?
Chilling with Mahomes.
And how he got 20-something points?
25.
So yeah, she would have been up. What's that? 48, 58, 68. So she would have been up here in the 4 or 5 range.
Yep.
That's tough. It's tough to lose any week
That's an ouchie cream pie, as Aaron said in the group me.
Very ouchie cream pie. Of course, anytime you've forget to put your quarterback in and he gets positive points, it's tough. But when you get a guy who has double the average amount for a week and you leave him on the bench, you're just kicking yourself all day and all week. So, Lauren, we all know that she's not going to forget this week based on that.
We're still sitting at a league average of 11 points per week, by the way.
Okay, so it's a little lower than our traditional average. So that's since we did mention Derek Carr, this is about how the Raiders season is going. If you're a Raiders fan, if you're a Raiders player, this is probably your expression most of the time.
Oh my God.
Derek Carr is legitimately crying on the field. It's been a while since I've seen a player shed tears on the field, but only John Gruden can make this happen to a player.
Oh my God.
So
are the Raiders still only have one win? And it's the Browns win.
I believe that is correct. Yes, they only beat the Browns, and that was only because the refs helped them out with that one.
Yeah, they got fucked, man.
The Raiders, they lost 27-3. They got the Colts next week, then the Niners. So a couple possible wins upcoming, but Derek Carr is going to have to at least wipe his eyes before they have any chance. In that Raiders game, there was a particularly egregious no call I think's worth bringing up on Amari Cooper.
Ooh.
What the fuck, NFL?
Jesus.
That was no flag.
And this is only his second year.
Who? Cooper?
Cooper.
A couple. He's been in the league.
He's from Alabama.
Years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, I don't know how you miss that. That's just about as bad as it gets. So great job, refs, once again being horribly inconsistent, and nobody knows what a
the name of this
is.
podcast now is just let's talk about the refs.
Well, it would be even more so if the NFL would stop removing every single highlight of questionable calls, because it's now been confirmed, as I've confirmed from multiple people in the NFL subreddit, that mods are removing clips of those types of plays. They leave up plays, touchdowns and great plays and great catches, all the highlights, they leave those up, but if you post something like that, it generally gets removed.
Have you seen a lot of they're putting out new videos where an official from the NFL is speaking over
justifying
the
the bullshit that they're putting out.
I think that's really funny. This is some whitewashing bullshit.
It's like some 1984 shit, like re-education.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I think I actually pulled one of those clips because they tried to say we'll probably get to it at some point. It was just they basically explained like, it was a roughing the passer call on the Brock Osweiler. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
Let me see if I can pull that up. Here it is. Roughing the passer. This is maybe the worst roughing the passer this season.
Does this have the guy voicing over it? So should we be quiet during?
No,
okay.
because all he says is basically, this is the amazing quality that we're able to get with these. All he says is basically the rule is, here it is, NFL officiating. I'll show that next, but this apparently is enough to get roughing the passer.
No way.
Roughing the passer.
Are you joking?
I am not kidding.
Ooh.
Now, the justification was that
they even went out and justified this?
There's a better angle where he does hit Osweiler in the head with his arm. So I guess you could make the argument. Here it is. They said forcible contact to the head and neck area. That is why this is roughing the passer. Now, I would argue it's not forcible. But that's their justification. Is that because his head went like that, that is illegal.
That is a better angle, I will say, but
I mean, I think that roughing the passer should be a penalty that is reserved for malicious intent. I think that is what you should call roughing the passer on. Now, sometimes you accidentally do rough the passer, but that is an example of not malicious intent. That is him trying to block the pass, and his arm happens to hit the quarterback in the helmet.
I mean, if the quarterback can't take that kind of hit, then go play something else.
Right.
I may sound like an old school guy or whatever, but that's insane.
I'm the first one to. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's exactly the point. Is that like that is not football, and that's when I side with the people who are like, oh well, that's part of the game.
Right.
Hard nose, that shit. Like
that's part of the game.
That's part of every game. That's
right.
part of like you go outside and play football in the backyard. That
Play
happens.
fucking hopscotch. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's just gonna happen.
So that's just. I mean, again, like what is there to say? They just keep fucking up. That call is not protecting anyone. It's not keeping anybody safer.
No.
It's nitpicky as fuck.
That's terrible. All right, let's. Who do we got here? Okay, so John had the top score with 35 points last week. I had the next with 26. Let's get some low scores in here. Drew only had 0.1 points with CJ Beathard, which is surprising. He's normally good for a positive score.
Yeah. I don't know. They must have. CJ Beathard, he's on the Niners now, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. That was the Monday night game. I didn't see much
no good clips there
from that game. Not of actually from CJ Beathard, but there were some funny things that happened. But I will say that that's going to be a solid choice the rest of the season. CJ Beathard is not a good player.
Yeah, he started us off with 12, then 22, and then 0.1. 2 sacks, 2 passing touchdowns. One of which was a 40-yard passing touchdown, so that really hurt.
Yeah, those 40-yarders always
245 passing yards. That's pretty good yardage.
I bet the Packers defense must really suck because the Packers defense must really be bad because the Niners I think are one of the worst teams in the league and it's their backup quarterback. So
yeah, the Packers are ranked 20th according to Yahoo.
I'm definitely picking him going forward. I'll say that much.
He's up against a worse defense, the Rams, according to Yahoo. The Rams have all of a sudden become a shitty defense.
What the hell? I don't understand how this works. I thought they were like the best defense in the league.
Me too, but apparently they're 24th.
That's so weird.
Arizona, 9th.
Guys, I don't understand the sport.
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say about that. I will say that if you play for the Niners, generally this is probably your reaction to a lot of things that happen. Let me actually put it so you guys can see. Maybe turn this down a tad, but the audio is important. Fuck indeed.
Those guys with the big bubbles on the sideline love when they get that shit.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure they got headphones in so they can hear it like real. That's kind of a cool job. You're kind of like a spy. You're just like trying to get all the chatter in there.
You feel like a freaking superhero with that kind of thing, man.
I've said for a really long time that I would pay immeasurable amounts of money to have like audio feeds, like selectable audio feeds of different areas of the field, or ideally different players, but they would obviously never do that. But how interesting would that be? You could just switch back and forth from like the coach or like the quarterback or one of the refs and just pick up all the chatter.
That'd
like
be cool.
All the shit talk. They're probably saying the most horrible shit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would love it. This was the most Green Bay thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy
cheers himself.
Not really sure what to do with
different light beers.
With these 2 beers, so he just says fuck it. Cheers to me. I love it. Great.
That's a pro right there.
That's a great football town, Green Bay. In fact, that's probably all they got over there. So good for him.
Yeah. One thing we should talk about, Cam last week. Poor Cam. Cam had the first pick of the draft.
Man, this was just a tough break.
And he went with Tannehill?
Yes, Tannehill.
Then Tannehill,
who nobody had heard I didn't hear was injured. It seemed like it was just a random ass thing where they just decided on Sunday he's not playing.
Yep. So,
and if you want to explain how that rule works, since we did run into some issues before we had this rule.
Right. This rule became a thing because of shiesty players trying to gobble up guys after injuries come in, and that's not our league. That's not how we play this league.
We don't want any sort of gamesmanship is good, but that sort of stuff is a little bit shiesty.
Because what happens is if an injury occurs, if we would have found that out earlier in the week, then someone else would have had priority over you. Like, let's say, Cam had top priority, but the problem being is Brock Osweiler was now available.
Right.
And someone else may have wanted Brock Osweiler, but Cam's only option is to pick any other quarterback that's left on the table except for the replacement player.
Mm-hmm. Because what you could do to exploit it is if you know that there's a quarterback who's questionable, you could pick that quarterback, and knowing that if he doesn't play, you have the fallback of the backup.
Right. Like, let's say, I'm not sure who Roethlisberger's backup is, but
I don't know either.
But let's say you pick a good quarterback who might not play just so that you can grab their shitty backup quarterback.
So you're basically effectively taking two quarterbacks with one pick.
Right.
Which is why you're totally allowed to take any backup quarterback at any time if you'd like to.
Yes.
If you get some inside news that
I think John has done that before, or
yeah,
Drew has done
Drew,
that before.
I think they have both done it before, where they must have heard that quarterback like fucked the coach's wife or something, and they knew they were going to get benched, so they took the backup.
Right.
And worst case scenario, you end up with a 0.
Right.
Which is not great.
It's a gamble.
But yeah.
So yeah, if someone wanted to, they could have taken Brock, even though Tannehill had already been chosen.
And it just depends. Some weeks you know that on Tuesday. This week we knew it on Sunday.
Right.
So it was just really a tough break. Cam's left with the 13th pick of the week, essentially,
while still getting first pick draft value points.
I think that might be something you need to work into the draft value statistic.
I cannot change the formula. I have a formula in there that cannot account for that kind of thing.
That's fair. I mean, yeah,
it's
I don't
impossible.
know how you would ever. I don't know how you would do that other than just like putting asterisks and saying.
Regardless of the injury points, he still had the first pick of the draft. He could have chosen anyone he wanted to.
True.
So he still should have the best.
You should be technically penalized for that. I mean, not penalized, but you shouldn't be given the benefit of the doubt because. I mean, in this case, it was just an extremely odd series of events. Like, this is not how it would usually happen.
Right.
Normally, when we're going into Saturday, the quarterback's questionable. You know that he may or may not play. It's not where it's just like dropped on you on Sunday.
Right.
So I've never seen that before. So Cam just really caught a tough break there.
But the draft value does not lie, and Cam goes a 6th straight week with negative draft value. And I know that this bothers Cam, and I love it. I love that Cam cares enough about the statistic because no one else does. Austin hates it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Austin's long been a anti-draft value statistic person,
despite the fact that he has the second best draft value.
It always makes him look good.
Mm-hmm.
However, he sticks to his guns on being against it. Which, hey, I respect the lack of flip-flopping. If he was a politician,
yep,
people would love it.
Tony, you would have the 4th best draft value.
I'll take that. I would like to be top 3 ideally, but all right. We'll take
Alex
that.
is top 3. So that's where draft value kind of falls off. It's not a perfect indicator of where you're going to lie in the season, but.
Well, and it also gets much like, certain other stats. Again, another baseball reference. There are a lot of fielding metrics that if you look at over a 10-game span are basically useless. But over a 3-year span,
it'll line up.
It is very accurate. So the more weeks we go throughout the season, the more accurate that stat will be.
So while we're talking about stats that Austin hates, I want to bring up the fact that I just added a new stat this week.
This is game-breaking stuff right here.
It's great, and I assume Austin's gonna hate it. But what I did is I created a stat that is the estimated average that each player needs in order to finish first.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I took the current leader and their current score, and I took the remaining weeks that we have and added the league's average to their score for every week. So, for example, I took John's 145, and we're currently averaging about 11 points. We have 11 weeks left, so 11 times 11 plus 145 gives us an estimated John will finish with 266 points. That's just the estimate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I then took your current score, subtracted that from the estimated final score, and then divided that by 11 to see what you needed to get every single week.
Right.
So, second place, you only need to average 11.73 points in order to take the lead.
Which, that's right at the average of the league so far this year. So as long as I am average,
well, the average is
theoretically
11.07. You need 11.73.
right? So
You need to be
close
slightly
to
above average.
slightly above average for
Right.
the rest of the year.
Worst being Brian. Brian has to average 22.53 points every week to win.
That's tough.
I am going to say I think Brian is out. I think I'm calling it time of death, 7:27 p.m. I think Brian's done.
So last podcast I had said he was out. Maybe you had thought he was on life support and he had still maybe a chance to come out of the coma.
Yeah, I'm calling it at this point.
This is it.
It's done.
He's done. And yeah, it's still early in the season, but when you break it down by how many points he needs per week, it really puts it into perspective of 22. I mean, you're talking about
22.5 points every week.
You can't have any you can't have any more negative weeks. You have to be going almost double the average every single week for the remainder of the week, and you also have to hope that the person who's in first goes
More than
below
average.
average for the rest of the year.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for him to have a shot, and there's just too many things stacked against him, and it's not going to happen.
The other, the nearby ones, Marianne needs 21.33 points per week.
Okay.
Cam needs 20.97, and Lauren needs 20.31.
So you got three
four people that need over 20 points a week.
So you could almost, if you look at the standings right now, it's kind of like, I would say it's sort of in tiers right here. You have the top three here, and then I would say 4 through 8 is a tier here, and then you have the bottom here. This is on its own tier as well. And really, I think Lauren, if she has a big week this week, she's right back in it, and she's going to be right in the thick of it here. But, I mean, I'd be willing to say these three people are gone. I think Marianne and Cam are. I would also group them with Brian. You just look how close they are in points here now. I mean, now granted, Brian has had another week. He has one fewer weeks than everyone else.
Right.
But it's not going to happen. We're talking 108 points behind the leader. 20 points a week is not possible.
We're gonna need to see big points from the bottom and negative points from the top.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Now, that being said, even that being said, despite the fact that we both think that you all three are gone, if you come out, but even football aside, if you come out this week and next week and drop like 30 burgers back-to-back weeks, you are right back in the thick of it. Now, when I say back in the thick of it, you still have to drop some more big weeks, but that at least gives you a little bit of encouragement. But yeah, I would agree. I think that the bottom three right now, you can cut it off right below Lauren.
Sorry, Farleys.
That's it.
That's what you get for not showing up on the podcast.
Right. The Farleys plus Brian, dead on arrival right now.
Dead. So I'm in love with this new stat right now.
I think
we just keep
good.
getting more and more complex.
I mean, I don't like if we're ever able to put this into a website or a program that can calculate all of this and display it in a way that is sexy, we have money coming our way.
We do,
and
for sure.
And that will of course be distributed by the amount of effort that people have put into this league.
Right.
So
3 people are gonna get some money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
Let's show us a fun clip here, Tony, because I don't really know where to go.
So here was since we do a lot of ragging on the officials, let's show a instance where the officials actually made a good call. Now, I'm not gonna congratulate them too much because I'm pretty sure that anybody with a brain would be able to tell that this is a penalty. So this is something you can't do in the NFL.
Oh my! Are you insane?
I mean, Aaron Carnevale would be proud of the I guess you could call it the diamond cutter, Diamond Dallas Page
so
sort of body slam.
Flag flying from the left.
1, 2.
Yep. All
3.
corners. Yep. Love it.
And a little bit of some extracurricular activity there.
That's insane.
Please don't do this, people in the NFL. Please don't do this to people.
Badass. It's badass.
It's badass. It's also safer than what some other players do, which is there's something to be said there. I'd rather have that happen to me than have Vontaze Burfict ever get within 15 feet of me.
I'm so glad you brought him up.
But that's just an example of the refs.
Yeah,
good job.
Good call.
You called the right.
If they
right
missed
call
that call,
time.
I think we got problems.
I'm pretty sure that would be riots in the streets if they missed that call.
Man.
Here's just to even it out.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
This was a somewhat controversial call, which on my initial, I just want to get your opinion on what you think about this. So I'll just tell you, this was a no call.
All right, Pin Pan, what a win.
And fuck this guy because he spends like 30 seconds talking about how good the Dolphins are.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
Let me see it again. Oh no, that's blatant.
Okay, I
That's
agree.
Blatant.
At first glance, when I saw it from this angle in
It looked
real
like he
time,
tripped.
I was like, oh, well, he just kind of fell over and happened to get tangled up. But he definitely reaches. He reaches with his arms and trips the running back.
I think he gets hit by his own player, and he knows he's about to fall. So he's just like, well, at this point, I might as well,
He probably also knows that there's a lot of open space out here, and if he doesn't do that,
Right.
then that's probably a bigger gain than 15 yards.
And you're right. At first look, it kind of looks like it was a complete accident, which I don't know the rules whether that gets called if it's intentional or not.
Generally, there's the sort of incidental contact. Like if a DB's running next to a wide receiver and they kind of just get their feet tangled up and trip, it's just a no call.
Right.
So I kind of thought it was going to be that sort of thing, but you can definitely see him kind of scoop his foot and trip him there.
Mhm.
So that was a no call. Great job, refs, once again. Oh, did I forget to show that, or did I just switch back? Oh,
I don't know.
Just for posterity's sake. If I did forget to show it, we'll just watch it one more time here. So yeah, another missed call there. I was gonna pull a Vontaze Burfict compilation of like all the hits that he has made in his career, all the like dirty hits that he's made. But I feel like we've all seen those so many times. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Vontaze Burfict and some of my sort of transformation of being a adamant Vontaze Burfict defender, somebody who wanted to buy his jersey basically to trigger other people who hated Vontaze Burfict, to now me being extremely anti Vontaze Burfict. And wow, are you bleeding?
I am bleeding.
Jesus Christ, man.
I don't know what happened.
See, even when you talk about Vontaze Burfict, injuries just start
Someone
popping
starts
up.
bleeding.
Anyway, so I am fully on the Vontaze Burfict should be out of the league train. Now, I'm not saying that the NFL needs to come out and give like a lifetime ban or something, because I think that's like a little bit much.
Right.
I know Joe Thomas did go out on Twitter after the Bengals game this Sunday and say that he should be suspended for the rest of the season. The hit that was made on Sunday, I didn't think. Well, first of all, it's not anywhere close to the worst hit he's ever made.
No.
Which is a high bar.
Yeah.
But if you look at all of the instances, it's sort of like, I would put it like this. When criminals are being prosecuted, there is generally a bit of a consideration to their prior criminal history.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's his first offense compared to a guy who's been arrested and thrown in jail 10 times, the guy who's been a repeat offender is going to get a harsher sentence. Now, that is exactly how it should work. And it's how it should work in sports as well. For some reason, there seems to be this consensus by Bengals fans that the NFL is unfairly targeting Vontaze Burfict like there's a microscope under him for no reason.
Right.
Now, they're right about half of that statement. There is a microscope on Vontaze Burfict, but it's absolutely warranted.
Yeah.
This is a guy who his coach in college said that when Vontaze Burfict was finally academically cleared to play football, which I thought was a great way to start that quote, there was a fight every single day in practice, and it was because of him. So you might say that, oh, well, he was just in college. Maybe he'll grow as a person and realize that that's maybe not the way that you should behave as a professional athlete. No.
Do you think if Marvin were to get replaced right now, the next coach would get rid of Vontaze? Do
Uh,
you think it's a Marvin thing that's keeping him around?
I think that Marvin definitely contributes to it. I don't know. I'm sure that there are other coaches in the league that would keep Burfict on the team just because of how good he is. Now,
Mhm.
that kind of goes to my second point that, and I think this is pretty obvious, but if Vontaze Burfict was just an average or slightly above average linebacker, he would not be on any team.
Sure.
He would have been cut long ago. Nobody's going to have this guy on their team who's only playing 70% of games because he's suspended for various different reasons.
Same thing with Josh Gordon. The reason Cleveland kept him around for so long is because he's fucking good.
Exactly. You look at other guys who have had similar, substance abuse problems. You only get a couple shots and then they're heck with it. Why would we invest any more time in you?
Right.
I think that you do bring up a great point though. Marvin is absolutely an enabler. The Bengals have had this sort of, another thing that Bengals fans hate is they believe that they hate when people make jokes about how the Bengals are full of criminals and like all that, like how, and there's some merit to that. Like when I agree with them a little bit because that's kind of a dead meme, I would say.
Yeah,
that's
it
kind of
used
like
to
a
be a
mid
thing,
2000s
for
thing
sure.
where it was actually that way. There was a lot of guys who did have problems. But I think, and it's gotten better, but it does speak to the fact that Marvin Lewis either doesn't care or just isn't like ballsy enough to bring the hammer down on some of these guys.
Right.
Especially when you look at guys like Pac-Man Jones, who, I don't know if you remember when he slammed Amari Cooper's head into his helmet in that one play. Like that's like
Poor
shit
Amari
that
Cooper, just getting the shit
right,
beat out of
exactly.
him for 2
Amari
years.
Cooper has no brain cells left. But that's something that if you did on the street, you would go to prison for like a long time. Like that's like assault with a deadly weapon.
I've always talked about this, how sports kind of like police their own, because if there was a fist, like in especially baseball, or I don't know, hockey maybe, if there was a fight in the middle of the street and some guy just beat the shit out of some other guy, he would go to jail. But in baseball, we have video evidence of this man committing a crime,
Right.
and nothing happens.
And same thing for like hockey, right? Like I was at the Cyclones game last weekend and there were like 12 fights.
It's like encouraged in hockey.
Yeah, in hockey, it's just like, okay, well, we just have to let them.
But at least with hockey, it's like there is some sort of standard. Both men have to be standing as soon as someone touches
That's
the ice.
true. It's more sanctioned, I guess.
Right.
In baseball, it's a fucking shit show.
Well, let's talk about that. We'll let this become a baseball podcast for a moment, because baseball used to be a shit show. Baseball fights used to actually matter. Now baseball fights are just people coming close to each other, all the benches clear, and everyone just like hugs and pushes and shit.
right.
Austin's here.
look who it is.
Austin, what's up,
Perfect
bud?
timing. What's up, man?
You want to get in on this podcast?
Yes, give me 1 second.
All right.
All
right.
Grab one of the kitchen chairs
See,
because I don't have any chairs up here.
see, senor.
So this is a perfect timing for Austin to be here because me and Austin, I think, disagree on this.
Right. This podcast just got an hour longer.
Yeah, this is about to get real contentious. So I'm interested to see what Austin has to say. I'll save a little bit of my comments while we're waiting for Austin, since he's already seen this hit. This was the hit in question from Sunday. This angle, I think, is not even as bad. It doesn't look as bad. What people were upset about was this sort of
Throwing of the
forearm
shoulder.
shiver here
Right there.
that to me looks like he's deliberately trying to hit Brown in the helmet.
I think you should save this for Austin. I think you should wait.
Okay.
Austin's gonna have some comments.
I will say that a lot of the Steelers players were obviously pretty ticked off by this. I think Ben Roethlisberger was complaining and saying that right after this he pointed at Juju Smith-Schuster and said, "You're next."
Mm-hmm.
It's hearsay. I don't know if that really happened. A lot of people were saying that's something that he's done since college, which is true. In college he did point right at Matt Barkley, who was at USC at the time. There's a really famous picture from like behind the quarterback of him pointing at him. It's kind of a badass picture. But now knowing how much of a piece of shit he is,
he was
it's
gonna
not
back up that point. He was gonna
right.
he was gonna do some shit.
Yeah. So
Well, while we wait for Austin, here's Austin. But okay, we'll keep it on this topic.
yeah,
we'll
let's.
keep it on this topic.
It's fresh. Let me turn on Austin's mic here, right on the end of the table there.
How was drinks, Austin?
Good.
Where'd you go?
The pub.
The
Nice.
pub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right down the road on
Right down
Dixie
the way.
Highway.
Yeah.
There's also one
Right
in
down the way.
Hyde Park, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a chain until today. I thought
Yeah.
it was only just the one.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's
So what are we talking
good
about?
to have you here. It's good to have a third member.
Thanks.
Somebody
Yeah, we
who-
haven't had a
who
guest in a
actually
long time.
watches football and knows what they're talking about. So you caught us at a good time because one of the things that we could all see from the group me is that me and you disagree on the Vontez Burfict situation.
See,
Now I do understand, and I understand where you're coming from. Also, being somebody who played football through high school, myself dropping out of football after 7th grade year, due to my small stature. They less than 100 pounds left guard was no longer all that viable. So
are you sure?
yeah, it wouldn't have worked out. I saw
Maybe
those.
fullback.
I saw those 8th graders, and I was like, okay, I'll go play
Oh
baseball.
boy.
But anyway, so the reason why I have this up here, this is obviously the hit in question from Sunday, which a lot of people were very pissed off about. I did mention, just to catch you up a little bit, that I don't think this is one of the worst hits I've ever seen. There's been plenty of players who have done more.
It's not even
egregious-
one of Vontez's top 10 worst hits.
I agree. He's had a lot of bad ones. So yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think that a lot of the outrage was sort of the amalgamation.
You mean
of
the
all
Pittsburgh fans and all of the NFL commentators who just want the Pittsburgh Steelers to win no matter what? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to expand on that? 'Cause
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a history between the Bengals and the Steelers, and we all know this, dating back even if as recently as 2005 or as
Right.
late as 2005, I
say
guess,
it
whatever.
Really set fire in the Carson Palmer, Keno
Yeah.
Van Olhoffen
So-
situation.
So yeah, however you say that dude's name, Kemo Van Olhoffen,
Van
or
bitch
whatever
face.
the fuck his name is. So he takes out Carson Palmer's knee, whether that was intentional or not, still up for debate. We're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Bengals fan, so I think that 2005 team was honestly the best chance as a Cincinnati Bengals fan for us to actually make a run in the playoffs.
Absolutely
We were
agree.
completely healthy coming into that game. Our defense led the league. I think we had 49 turnovers in 16 games, which is that would lead the league almost every single year on defense. And it wasn't like our defense was super, super good, but we just forced a ton of turnovers.
And the offense was extremely
The O-line was great. We had awesome receivers, R.I.P. Chris Henry, who caught that pass.
Yeah.
Chad, we had TJ. Obviously, Carson was just coming into his own. It was his third year in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
He's coming off a Heisman Trophy in college.
Rudy Johnson. In the
Rudy,
backfield.
yeah, Rudy. We
Jeremy
had
Johnson. in the
we had all the Johnsons. We had 9 dudes named Johnson on our squad. But dating back to that, then you got, Hines Ward, who is by far one of the dirtiest players in the history of the NFL.
I would agree.
And he's sitting there on his moral high horse on, TV trying to tell other people what should and shouldn't be allowed. He shouldn't even be allowed to speak, in my opinion.
I would say if you looked up Hines Ward in the dictionary, it should be a picture of him looking at a ref doing this move.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like the classic, you just definitely committed a penalty. But
Yeah,
you did this
you
move.
definitely just broke a dude's jaw and literally ended his
Keith
entire
Urban's career,
and
yeah.
ended his entire career. Thanks a lot, you dirty fuck.
and with a block that is now illegal because of that.
Yeah, literally, there's a rule because of it. There was also a rule implemented after the Carson Palmer hit. We don't want to forget Antonio Brown drop kicking Kevin Huber in the face and ending his season. We want to talk about Ryan Shazier going helmet to helmet, lowering his head on Gio Bernard in that playoff
Talk
game.
about my OSU Shazier. Leave him out of this.
He just
Leave him out of this.
here's a hot take. Maybe if he knew how to fucking tackle properly, he wouldn't have broken his damn neck, and it's his own fucking fault. So there's a
Ryan
hot
Shazier
take.
is an example of why certain football players need to change the way that they
Ex-
play the game. I would say.
1,000%.
Because if you don't tackle like that, you don't have what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, it's sad. I don't
want
I'm not
anyone
glad
to-
that it happened.
I don't want
but-
anyone to get injured. I don't care if it's the Steelers or anybody else, because I just want to see the best football players. Just as a football fan, I just want to watch the best guys.
And
I
you
don't
want to watch fights happen.
Yeah, I don't want to watch
game and
fights.
shit.
I want to watch, physical contact. But again, so we go to the Ryan Shazier multiple hits, who
decapitating Giovanni Bernard in
yeah,
the playoff game
and
last- or a
and,
couple
and so
years ago.
then we have this whole history, and I'm sure there's a few other plays that I'm missing along the line.
Absolutely.
Troy Polamalu he would get flagged for everything now.
He's-
Everything that he used to do, he would not even be able to play in the league now.
And that's where I would agree with you that the ghost is back. That's why I agree with you that he's an example of a Steelers player who did always get the benefit of the doubt when it
100%.
came to flags because he was so marketable for the NFL.
He has great hair.
It's almost similar to like how people would complain about Tom Brady being protected so heavily. Palomalu was the defensive version of that, basically. So there's definitely some credence to that theory that you're bringing.
So anyways, you can all see where I'm going. I don't need to belabor this point anymore. But the Steelers have a history of literally the NFL having to change the way that the entire sport of football is officiated because of how dirty they have played historically. And so then hold on. I'm just getting started. So then they want to sit there and talk about Vontaze Burfict. Okay, let's talk about Vontaze Burfict. Has he had some dirty hits and has he deserved to be suspended multiple different times? Yeah, for sure. Not going to argue that. However, some of the plays that he's been fined for and some of the plays he's suspended for, not a single other player in the fucking NFL would ever be fined or suspended for that. And the only reason is because he did it to himself. Not going to dispute that. Okay. But he totally did it to himself. But he gets officiated different. There's a different set of rules for Vontaze Burfict than there is for everybody else. This play right here. Yeah, it's sort of like the play in the playoff game, right? Mm-hmm. Except instead of going helmet to helmet on Antonio Brown, he gives him a forearm shiver. Mm-hmm. Is he trying to inflict pain on Antonio Brown? 1,000,000%. Yeah. Is that a dirty play? No, it's not a dirty play. The dude is carrying the freaking ball. Should Vontaze Burfict aim for his head? I don't even know if he was aiming necessarily for his head. I mean, dude, you're not trying to put your elbow on a helmet. Like let's be honest. And Antonio Brown is coming down to the ground.
We have our first viewer.
Hi, viewer.
It's Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
What's up, Taylor? Here's what I would say to refute that. I don't think you say that Burfict wouldn't want to put his arm into a helmet. I don't think he's smart enough to even make that determine. Like there was another clip, and I don't have it handy, but there was another play where it was a running play, and Connor was coming up the middle, and Burfict just like literally came through the middle of the line and put his head completely down. Yeah. And like dove forward and just missed Connor completely. Like he missed him by like a whole body because he wasn't even
looking.
So
it was a Ryan Shazier type tackle, and he just totally.
There's no actual cognitive thought happening. It's all just pure instinct, which is why this is so scary and dangerous. Is because he does this shit recklessly, and like you said, he isn't trying to inflict pain on people.
100%.
That's
football.
Part of football, but I think that's the problem here. Is that his goal should be to tackle him, not to inflict pain on him.
So that is where I vehemently disagree. So part of football is imposing your will. In this specific matchup, look, the Steelers are always going to get the benefit of the doubt there. I mean, people want to talk about America's team being the Cowboys. That's bullshit. It's the Patriots and it's the Steelers. Those two teams get the benefit of the doubt more than anybody else. And then, the cheating stuff with the Patriots, well, they did cheat. Right. So, you know what? You can sit here and cry wolf all you want, but you fucking cheated. Yeah. So don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Tom Brady, guess what? You played with deflated footballs. How stupid. You won by 50 points. Doesn't matter. You still cheated. Was that the reason that you won the game? No. Did you still cheat? Yes. Should you be punished? Yeah, we can go back to a litany of things. Spygate. I mean, we can go back. Anyways, these teams get the benefit of the doubt no matter what because they're big markets. They attract a lot of viewers. And something like in this play, everyone on Twitter, he should get a lifetime ban from the NFL. Are you fucking kidding me? There was like 10 other plays last week that were significantly worse than anything Vontaze Burfict did in this game.
I agree with that point. I don't agree he should get a lifetime ban.
He shouldn't even. If you want to fine him, that's fine.
However, in a vacuum, you're correct. But it's because of this. This is a repeat thing that happens. He was suspended for 4 games, and now we're in his second game back, and we're already talking about this again.
The only reason we're talking about it though is because of his name. If this was Nick,
to me that's irrelevant. I would say that's irrelevant because
I say it's relevant.
Why? I mean, what I mean when I say it's irrelevant, I mean, like that's not a good enough reason to say that he shouldn't be suspended because the whole reason that's exactly the point is that this keeps happening. That's why he has the microscope on him. So it's justified because the NFL needs to take a look at him harder because he's done that to himself, like you said earlier.
Yeah, yes and no. Okay, so for example, people always want to bring up how he took out Le'Veon Bell's knee. Dude, he did not.
I don't
that
agree
is
with that
garbage, bro. Like, was he celebrating the tackle after it? Yeah. Did he knew that he blew Le'Veon Bell's knee out? No, absolutely not. He
Right,
for
so-
sure, like, that was a tackle, and it's terrible, and it happens. And like, Le'Veon Bell is my guy.
Yeah.
That's my Michigan State guy. Like, I went to school with him. He used to come party at our frat house. Like, I love Le'Veon Bell. Like, he's my dude, even though he plays for the Steelers. But that was not a dirty
I agree
play.
with you, but
There are so many plays that people point to where Vontaze Burfict gets fined $25,000
So
or
let me
whatever it's been.
Okay.
For a moment, you mentioned
I just disagree with
how you mentioned how the Steelers have had multiple players that now have like rules in the NFL that they had dirty hits that changed the rules of the NFL, right?
Yeah, and they want to sit there on their moral high horse
Sure,
and
sure.
talk to us about this, that, and the other. Like, get out of here.
I could be wrong, but what about the low tackle on Roethlisberger that I believe was what implemented the you can't go low on a quarterback?
That was,
was-
Tom Brady. That was the Tom Brady
There was
rule.
an instance where Burfict, this was not in this game, but it was in the previous Bengals-Steelers game from last season, where Burfict came in sort of low on Roethlisberger. He claimed that he was pushed into him. Now, I did rewatch that play the other day. Somewhat ambiguous.
Are we comparing it to Keelan Van Olffen? Is that a comparable play? I don't remember the play.
It is
I straight up don't
comparable.
remember the play.
I think Chemo's play was more purposeful. I think you could maybe make the argument if it wasn't Vontaze Burfict, I might believe you if you said that you were pushed in. But again, when you have these multiple instances, you lose the benefit of the doubt. And also, to your point, you don't get like. So I agree that the Le'Veon Bell tackle, people freaked out about that. That was just a freak thing that happened.
Yeah.
There was no malicious intent there. But again, when you do this over and over and you have people every time you make a tackle freaking out and doing this shit, it's on you to adjust the way that you play to be extra careful. I'm not saying that he needs to stop playing hard, but I'm just saying he needs to at least be under control in a way.
Yeah, can I give you another example?
Of course.
So last year, I can't remember if it was a preseason game or if it was the first game of the year. We played the Chiefs. The Bengals played the Chiefs, and Vontaze Burfict hit the fullback Anthony Sherman. I believe he's number 42 for the Chiefs, and I think he still plays for them. He hit in I don't remember if he went high or low or
He's kind of going across the middle.
Yeah, and they called it like a defenseless receiver, even though he was getting the ball thrown to him or something.
It was a
Anyways,
new rule, yeah. It was
Anthony Sherman came out after the game and said that it was a clean hit and a clean play. The dude who got hit by Vontaze Burfict came out and said he didn't think it was a dirty play.
Yeah.
And we can definitely pull this up. And Vontaze Burfict gets suspended for this hit. And this is oh yeah. He was coming over the middle and he just fucking decks him.
This isn't the best view, but yeah,
and he just decks him and he's not looking. And is that a necessary play? For sure not. But dude, this is what happened. So it's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. You see this happen on crossing routes all the time when they'll run a mesh concept for people who aren't familiar, that's when you have a receiver on both sides of the formation and they're running across the field like this to try to set a natural pick on the defenders. A lot of times the defenders will take out one of the receivers. It never gets called. Sure. Now, again, is that a necessary play in the game of football, especially since he wasn't getting thrown the ball?
Yeah.
No, not a necessary play. For sure not. And did he get suspended for the fact that his name was Vontaze Burfict and it was him who was the one who put this hit on?
Probably yes.
Probably yes. But in my opinion, you do need to look at these plays in somewhat of a vacuum. Like sure, context does matter and intent does matter. And Vontaze Burfict, he doesn't help himself, right? And he doesn't. And the other thing is he doesn't respond well to the media, and that's a whole separate issue, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't help him either because none of the beat reporters here in Cincinnati give him the benefit of the doubt anymore. Like you got Mo Egger talking about he needs to be the Bengals need to cut him and stuff. Dude, our linebacker core is one of the worst linebacking cores in the NFL right now. You whatever you want to say about Vontaze. he's necessary
well,
on the team.
And that's been the point that I've said is if he's an above average linebacker rather than a fantastic one, he's gone.
He's out. Yeah, sure. So essentially where I'm getting at is this reputation that Vontaze Burfict has is, I would say, 60 to 65% earned and 30 to 35% made up. And that's what I'm saying when we're talking about his reputation coming into play. Well, the reason he has this reputation is because of bullshit perception in the first place. Just because of things like this, or like I said, that Le'Veon Bell tackle where people still claim that it's dirty. Like, that stuff is part of football. It happens every single week. It happens all the time. And so, yeah, like I said, did some of the reputation, did he deserve it? Yes. But that hit on Antonio Brown, dude, like, Antonio Brown came out for one play and was right back in? Like, you literally see this every game, every single week, and, like, there's way worse stuff that happens and nobody talks about it. And so that's where I just get frustrated with everyone. Dude. Everyone on Twitter's like, he needs to be kicked out of the league. All these, verified NFL guys. And it's just garbage, dude.
First of all, Twitter is a cesspool.
Twitter's a cesspool, but all of the dudes on TV are on Twitter saying these things.
Right. Secondly, what I would say is I think that you explaining it.
And I'm a Bengals homer.
Sure.
Fact.
Sure. You explaining it, I can at least understand that point of view. I get why you feel that way, and I have no problem with that. It's the people that go victim complex. The NFL hates the Bengals.
Oh, woe is me. Yeah.
Vontaze Burfict does the same shit that everyone else does. He's not any dirtier than any other regular player.
Yeah, no.
Those people are the people who need to shut up because they're not helping.
For sure.
All they're doing is just it's confirmation bias. It's you saying a shitty thing and then people reacting to the shitty thing you say and then being, well, I guess you just hate the Bengals. No, you're saying shitty stuff deserves to be criticized. So those people need to shut up.
Yeah, no,
if everyone felt that way, I would have no problem with
I gotta cut this conversation short.
Yeah, we could talk about
we've been on this for a while.
We could talk about this forever.
Well,
but
it's an interesting.
It is,
especially because we're talking about,
and it's mostly the Steelers. It's so like if Vontaze Burfict would have done that to like this upcoming week to Sammy Watkins over the middle in the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are coming out and complaining about it. Yeah. I take that entirely differently than Ben Roethlisberger's dumbass coming out and saying some shit, or Juju Smith. Shut the fuck. Like, I don't want to hear it from the fucking Steelers. They're one of the dirtiest organizations in professional sports. And the last people I want to hear talking about some moral high ground is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm sick of the NFL and everybody, the entire league, just being like, oh yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers, they're right, blah 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 blah. Well, no, they're fucking not. So I'll end it there.
I'm with you there. I'm with you.
This has been great conversation, guys.
I think we cleared a lot of things up.
Tony, can we bring in Austin's lower third? Can we get that?
Oh yeah,
we need to do more of that.
What's up?
Let's see.
You've got it on there. There we go.
Oh yeah, 6'9" life coach.
Yeah, that's
Austin back.
He's back with a heated.
I heard 6'9" was trying to do a collab with Bobby Shmurda as soon as he gets out of prison, and I hope Bobby Shmurda just kills him. I'm just kidding. I do not hope that.
Just take one for the team. Another one for the team.
Yeah,
Bobby.
just another one.
So let me update you guys on the chat so far. It's still just Taylor.
Shout out.
I asked her thoughts on the subject, and she said she meant to turn on Grey's Anatomy, and somehow this came on.
Nice. Hi, Taylor.
Then she told me as I was rolling in that bed, she said, "Keep rolling in that bed, sexy." And then
okay, you didn't have to read that out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that has to do.
And then she just yelled Shmurda.
Shmurda.
So. All right, cool. I like that.
Did you guys already get through the Kirk Cousins dance yet?
No, I was going to show that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump the gun. I'm just really excited to talk about that.
Yeah, let's bring it up.
Well, let's start with
Adam Thielen, my guy, too.
Let's start with this Kirk Cousins speech because I know a lot of people made fun of his you like that thing when he did that.
That's so genuine from Kirk Cousins. He's such a dork.
I mean, this is
he's such a dork, and that's so genuine.
The thing is, though, this speech I actually really like.
Yeah,
I think it's a great pregame hype speech to get your team jazzed up. So
another Michigan State guy, shout out.
Since you have not heard this yet,
I have not.
Let's get your opinion here.
He had another really great one last week too, but I think this one is better.
Full screen.
Let's go.
I love that.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I love how he pulls out the quote from Dan Gable, whoever the fuck that is. Like, he for sure had this whole speech planned.
Definitely.
You got to practice that a few times.
Yeah. You can't screw it up.
It
right?
was genuine, and I love the top reply. This is why I like Twitter. This is what pulls me back. Is this guy saying this is a close second? And it's Jameis Winston eating a W, and his whole team standing around like, what the fuck is this guy doing right now?
Yeah, Jameis Winston didn't do it correctly. Kirk Cousins did do it correctly. The thing is
I
that
loved a couple voice cracks in there. That was.
Oh yeah,
that shows compassion.
That just shows how much energy he's putting. Like, like when all your breath goes out and you're just getting so fired up, and like your voice cracks and you don't even care.
I love it.
Yeah, Kirk is such a dork. Anybody who wants to watch something really cool in terms of perspective on like NCAA athletics, which there's a lot of negative perception about. Watch Kirk Cousins.
You have to tell Tony twice.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at you. You watch Kirk Cousins' speech. I believe it was the 2011 Big Ten luncheon. It was like during Big Ten Media Days his senior year, and he gave a speech about like what a privilege it was to be a college athlete and stuff. And like he's just such a good dude. And like he was actually going, if he didn't make it in the NFL, he was going on to medical school and going to be a doctor. Like he's super smart.
Damn.
He's super nice. He's super religious. He's a family guy. Like. You just got to root for Kirk Cousins, and he's such a fucking dork, and I love it.
That's what you want in a quarterback.
I love it. Yeah.
So clearly his speech helped a lot because I know you're a big fan of Adam Thielen, is how you say it.
Thielen.
Is it Thielen? Okay.
Yeah.
So Adam Thielen.
Shout out my fantasy teams.
This was a touchdown he scored, but mostly what I like is the dance afterwards.
Yeah. I don't even know what this dance is from. It's from something. and look at the 74.
What is that?
So not sure what that is, but
I don't. It has to be from some viral internet thing.
Yeah,
right? I don't know what it is.
I mean,
but it was great.
Could be a new.
I just
Fortnite
assume everything's
patch.
Fortnite, but
Yeah, probably.
So that apparently wasn't enough because Cousins made this
and then,
nice little move.
Oh, and then you like the read option with the whitest quarterback in the
love it.
league. Let's go.
So he had to do it again.
No, but watch the end. Watch the end. Watch the end.
I missed that. The first
Nobody
It's
knows
bad.
what that is, and it doesn't matter.
I mean, I
It's
just
a good
love it.
one.
I don't
It's
care
so
what
good.
it is. I love it.
It's so good. Yeah. Anyways,
so
Kirk Cousins the GOAT.
Austin, since have you been on at the beginning of this season?
Yeah, I made I was on the first one
The
that
first
everyone was, and then I think I made a brief cameo appearance in
Yeah,
another
yeah, yeah.
episode. Yeah.
So let's talk about your season as a whole.
Sure.
Because you're sitting in
Second.
Well, you're in third now after.
Well,
Tony,
Tony, yeah.
but he's
right.
a week ahead of you.
Right.
So let's just talk about
How
your-
far are you ahead of us now,
pull up
Tony?
the
Can I see your
standings
things?
He's
again.
still in second. He's not. He hasn't beaten John yet.
Yeah, John's still above me there.
Oh, damn, you're at 137. Okay.
Yeah. So you, Tony, and John are all right up there. I'm right behind you guys.
Did we determine that that performance by Josh Rosen was the Hall of Fame performance of
We
all time?
think so.
It was the GOAT
We have it on
performance.
good authority that was the highest scoring.
Yeah, like I couldn't think of a single other game. I mean,
know we've had 50-point weeks before. But
Yeah.
60 is
I've
something
never
special.
seen.
Yeah, I mean, like he had 3 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns, 2 fumbles, 6
3
sacks.
fumbles, 2 lost fumbles.
Yeah, and then
3
and
totals,
then
6
6 sacks.
Yep.
I mean, it was. And then did you see what Von Miller said before the game?
No.
Oh man, he had quotes of the century. He came out and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna kick their ass. The Cardinals like can't do anything against us." I'm like paraphrasing, but he was essentially getting his own team fired up because they were like 2-4, and he was just like, "Yeah, like we're gonna come in and we're gonna destroy them. We're gonna kick their ass. Like we don't care what the Cardinals do. They're not good enough to block us." And guess what? They won 45-10, and he was right.
He was very right. So right that they fired
the
offensive
OC.
coordinator
Yeah,
today.
that dude sucks anyways.
I will say, though, I'm excited that Byron Leftwich is going to be the new coordinator.
Dude, I saw that. Did you see that? Somebody tweeted it out. Well, I don't. Are you back on Twitter or no? Okay.
I have an account, but it's
You don't really do anything. So they were.
Had an account.
it's just so sidebar.
For
if
this.
you don't have a Twitter account, and like a lot of the clips that I get and stuff are from Twitter, if you don't have one and you're browsing Twitter,
Make
like
an egg.
every fucking
Yeah.
page, something will pop up and be like, join Twitter, and it like fucks you, especially on mobile. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll make an account.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, not tweeting at anybody, no political shit. I just follow MLB stuff.
So
there
Byron
you go.
Leftwich gets promoted to their OC, offensive coordinator, and they tweeted out the video of him when he was playing at Marshall his senior year, and he's literally playing with a broken leg.
I
and
watched
he's
that game live.
he's completing passes down the field, and he can't move, and his offensive linemen are literally carrying him down the field.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen.
And he goes down and wins the game for them. It was unbelievable.
They just stood. Each lineman like stood next to him. He would put his arms around both of them, and then they would just scurry
And they-
down the field.
yeah,
'cause
they would
going
run-
no huddle offense.
yeah,
so they would just
'cause they were
pick 'em up and
losing.
Take 'em down the
It was
Crazy.
it was insane. So yeah, so that was cool that I got to see that clip again because I'd forgotten about that. So happy for
So,
him.
Austin, you are you're sitting at third. You're
Mhm.
averaging 20 points a week,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
Shout out to Josh Allen.
That's what I was gonna say. Your best game this week is Josh Allen with about 44 points.
Mhm.
So that's huge. That's big for you. But you also opened up with two 25-point games
Yep.
in the first 2
Yep.
weeks. What's your strategy on keeping this going?
So if you remember at that first episode that I was on, and you talked to me about what do you think is like a good average every week, and I said if I can get 15 points every single week, I'm confident that I'm going to win the league. And that should go for everybody. I think that if you can average 15 points a week and you can just not get negative scores, shout out Brian. If you can just not get negative scores, you have a chance. And so last week, Dak Prescott really let me down, and he played weights. And
Definitely your
He
worst
finally
week so
played
far.
well.
well, you want to know the crazy thing about it is he only had 186 passing yards last week. Like he actually didn't throw that much. It was Jacksonville's defense just blacked out.
Yep.
Like they're the best. They are not even close, best defense in the league, and they just completely blacked out against an offense who hasn't done shit all year. And so that's why I picked him. I'm like, man, this is a juicy matchup against the Jaguars. They're also my fantasy team defense, so I was like, man, I'm ready for this game.
Double dip.
Oh, by the way, Jacksonville's defense -2. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Still
that's what
won,
happens. I
barely.
mean, Minnesota goes up
Against me, right?
Yeah, it was against you. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Minnesota goes up against the Bills this year and shits the bed.
Yeah, it's
You
so
know,
strange.
It's just like these weird matchups.
Yeah, really weird.
It doesn't really make any sense.
And by the way, Josh Allen didn't play well in that game either. People forget my guy Kirk Cousins fumbled inside his own 20-yard line 2 times in the first quarter, and they were immediately down 14-0, and I think they lost like 22-0. So
I guess his speech wasn't good enough.
well, not that game, but yeah, no. So in terms of strategy for me, I definitely have a strategy in terms of the things that I'm looking for, A, in a quarterback, and B, in a matchup every week. And I don't want to give away all my
Yep, that's
secrets.
fair.
But what I will say is it's not always the worst quarterback, like talent-wise, that's going to give you the most points.
True.
And so that's the thing that people have to understand. Like Josh Rosen, yes, of course he had 62 points, and so like that was like, Hall of Fame, type game. But other than that, like, you look at the numbers he's put up in our fantasy league, and it was like less than 10, I think, almost every other game except for one.
Yeah.
And that's just because they weren't throwing the ball that much. He wasn't really trying to push the ball downfield. They were trying to run it. They were trying to protect him. And he's going to be a really good quarterback. I don't know if you guys remember last year when I did that PowerPoint, I talked about him. I talked about Sam Darnold. I talked about Lamar Jackson. I
Since
talked
you
about all
brought
those
that
guys.
up, I will be clipping that and adding it so that we can look back.
My
on it.
Sam Darnold take was wrong.
Well, it's
I'll
still
call myself
it's
out.
still early. We don't know.
I called him the biggest lock of a bust ever, and that's just wrong. He's actually good.
Well, the jury's still out. It's
Yeah.
still early.
I mean, right? He's only played like 6 or
You
7
can't
games.
nail
Or whatever.
all of you. All
Yeah,
of it.
but anyways, so essentially where I'm getting at is like, Eli Manning is a fucking lock every week. Like if he doesn't get picked, that's a
The
travesty.
Giants are straight dumpster fire.
The fact that he's even still allowed to play quarterback to me is amazing.
He's name recognition,
Yeah, for a
I
fact.
mean, he's won what 2 Super.
He's
Super
literally
Bowl-
he's riding the coattails off of 2 Super Bowl
Yeah.
wins where he made a total in those 2 games of 2 amazing throws and 2 amazing plays that helped win them the
Got
game.
bailed out by,
He for sure helped them win the game, but both of his receivers on those plays made incredible, like once in a lifetime catches on those plays. That will.
Right.
Remember David
OBJ?
Tyree? No,
Yeah.
hold on. It was Mario Manningham and David Tyree. David Tyree caught the ball in his fucking helmet. What? Literally. What?
One of the most iconic.
Yeah,
catches
how does
in
that happen?
football history.
And then Mario Manningham down the sideline on that play, literally like the next year, he was cut.
Out of the league.
He was
yeah.
cut,
He was
and
nothing.
it's cause he wasn't really that great. He just made this one great play. And that defensive line, people forget, like they had Michael Strahan, Pierre Paul. They had some monsters, and they were just getting after everybody. But yeah, so long story short, Eli should be a must pick up every week.
Stone cold
You want guys who are going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Yep.
And I
You
might
got to
be
take a risk.
Yeah,
if you're
incompletions, guys.
Yeah, incompletions are worth
incompletions.
that-
Offensive
that's-
line and incompletions.
and the incompletions thing is what I was about to get to next. Like some of these like really good quarterbacks, for example, like I mean you
Look at the top 3 undrafted every week.
Ben
There's a name on
Roethlisberger
there.
Yeah.
generally gets
Roethlisberger's
throws the ball a
up
lot.
there. Sometimes Aaron Rodgers puts up huge. Now, okay, I'm never drafting Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying,
If you're
like,
number 11, number 12, and he's got a tough defense,
you might as well just try.
Week
Maybe.
4, Aaron Rodgers was the top undrafted
Yep.
quarterback.
There you go.
Yeah,
20 points.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Even then, 20 points is low for the top undrafted.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Normally
true.
We're in the 30s for the. It's
Somebody
so far,
has a
so
weird
far this
game.
year.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Andrew Rodgers,
Aaron
Rodgers,
yeah, same
Andy
thing.
Roddick.
Andy Roddick, the tennis player.
Joe Flacco, and Watson. all
Yeah.
were the top.
So like Stafford, so like that's the thing. Like I'm going to be starting to adjust a little bit moving forward. The people just forget incompletions are worth a 1 whole point.
Yep.
That's a lot. And if you have a guy who's throwing the ball 50 times a game, aka Matt Stafford,
Yeah, that's
and
at least 20 incompletions probably.
well, that's the thing. Even if he goes 35 for 50, which is a great
Yeah.
like completion percentage, that's still 15 points for incompletions. That doesn't
He can
count.
throw
You're bound
2
to throw a
touchdowns
pick,
in-
too.
Yeah, and he's bound to throw at least one pick or and sacks. Obviously, like Gator said, the offensive line is an important thing. So there's definitely things that you want to look at. There's also other things
How
over
many
the
sacks
last
do you
couple.
think
Yeah, that's a
the
great
Tennessee
question.
Titans had?
It was 11.
11.
Yeah, no, I know.
Can you believe that shit?
Well,
know what
I
the
can because
record
I
is?
saw it. But before it, I would have never guessed if that's what you mean. But do I know what the record is?
Like in most.
Did you guys look this up
I
before?
couldn't find it quickly. I just didn't really try that hard.
I couldn't imagine it would be too much higher than 11. I do want to say that I feel like I heard somewhere that it was 13, but I could just be completely making that up. So
Oh wait, I might have just found it.
I can't see that far.
12.
12. Well, I was close.
Who?
A couple. There's like 3 or 4 guys.
The most recent was 1985.
Yeah. So that's like prehistoric football before they even knew like what.
That was when they used actual pigskin.
Yeah. They actually used a live pig. Yeah.
It doesn't look like anybody's gotten over 10 in a long time. Like
Yeah. I mean,
unless this is outdated.
It's
but-
well, yeah. I mean, it's an unheard of number 11, and it wasn't like on, for example, like Eli Manning, who literally can't move. It was on Marcus Mariota,
Yeah, he's kind
who
of a
is
mobile guy.
not kind of. He's really athletic.
Yeah.
And by the way, their left and right tackle in Tennessee are 2 of the best offensive tackles in the league. However, their guards and their centers are fucking trash.
Yeah.
And people have started to realize that, and they're not attacking on the edge, they're attacking right up the middle. And if you're getting a guy in your face every 2 seconds, and Baltimore obviously has a great defense. So it's I was super surprised. I really didn't expect that, but Baltimore is one of those teams where if they're whoever they're playing, that's someone you have to consider, depending on the quarterback.
You asked me. We were talking about the Browns' upcoming schedule, and I said
right.
the Browns were gonna lose this many games, and one of them was Baltimore. And you said, "What do you like about Baltimore?"
Mm-hmm.
Their
They're
defense
not
is good.
Cleveland.
Their defense is really good.
Yeah. And
Yeah, their front 7 is good. Their secondary is pretty decent. Here's the thing. Do you guys know like how well Baker's been doing? I haven't really been paying like in this. I know like in real life, like not the bad quarterback league, but he's been doing okay. But I don't know like what his point totals have been in this league.
Well,
I haven't drafted him
John
yet.
35 points last week.
Okay.
Off an auto draft.
Yeah, I hate that.
John has auto drafted the past 3 weeks, and he's done very well.
We talked about it. You can reference. So he
should be kicked out of the league.
30 last 3 weeks, 30 points, 20 points, 35 points.
What were the scoring totals in those games? Oh, the Baltimore was 12-9. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, they lost 38-14 against the Chargers, and
Okay.
they got Tampa Bay this week.
So the thing about the and you always want to pick quarterbacks on losing teams, right? So the reason that he has to throw the ball, what is that, 46 times or whatever it was?
He's thrown over 40
3 straight games.
in 3 straight games.
And they were all losses because they were no, the one was a win against Baltimore, but it was in overtime. So that's why he got to 43. But the reason he's throwing the ball so much is because they're losing so badly, and
well, they're letting him throw the ball. They trust him.
Oh yeah, and I love watching Baker. By the way, I have a great T-shirt idea that I would like for you to start working on because I'm not good at Photoshop.
Okay.
But I've already talked to Tony about it, and it's fantastic. We'll get it up, and we'll have to get it trademarked so we can start making some money off it because I think it's a great idea.
Do you want to reveal it, or are you trying to keep it under
Keep it
wraps?
off the airwaves.
No, I'm not putting it on the internet.
You got too many
No.
fans. Steal it.
I'm not putting it on the internet until we officially put it on the
That's
internet.
fair.
But yeah, the Cleveland, you just gotta feel bad for him sometimes.
So Austin, you said that one of your goals is to hit an average of 15 points every week.
Yeah.
So I came up with a new stat this week, and you might like it, you might hate it, but I came up with the estimated average that each person needs in order to win the league. Okay?
Is that like some algorithm you made or something?
Kinda, a little bit. So what I did is I took the current leader, John's 145, and I assumed that he would get the average score of what we've been averaging, 11 points, and added all that up. And if John were to get the average every week from here on out, he would get about 266 points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So then I took those numbers and
You subtracted it from what we had and
yes,
divided it
yes,
out.
yes.
Yeah.
So, in order for you to win, I think, according to this, you need to score more than 13.3 points every week. So 15 points is right on line for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty confident early in the year when I said that 15 number, and I'm sticking with that. My goal every single week is to get 15, regardless of where I'm drafting. The thing is that once you start getting down to 10, 11, 12, it's a fucking coin flip because you can either like risk it with somebody like Matt Stafford, who could either go 25 for 50 with 3 interceptions, like 4 sacks, and get you a bunch of points, or he could, throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and get you like negative 20. Like, so you can like go coin flip, high risk, high reward, or you can really play it safe with somebody more like Dak Prescott, who the Cowboys are going to run the ball a lot. He's not going to make many mistakes. He's not going to take that many risks. He's going to, he's going to dink and dunk his way down the field. He won't get that many yards, so you won't have to worry about that, but he probably won't turn it over too much either. So it's kind of a toss-up at the end of the draft if you do really well. Yeah. But honestly, if you are drafting in the top 8 and you're not getting at least 15 points, then you botched your pick, in my opinion.
Botched it. So taking a look at our stats here, our leaderboard, Tony, if you want to bring that up. Tony and I have already discussed this. Do you think there's anyone at this point who is dead? Anyone that's out?
Like completely out?
Yeah, you think you'd put money out there's no chance they're going to win the league.
Yeah, everybody from 5 down.
From 5 down.
Market.
Wow.
Damn.
Dude, okay, do the math. Like 145 minus 67. I mean, what's that, like 80 or like 78 or something?
Points back
Drew's
here.
in 5th.
Oh, 77. Yeah, 80 points. I mean, okay, yeah, technically, can you make that up in like 3 weeks? Sure, but that means everybody in front of you has to be shitty for 3 straight weeks, and then you have to crush it for 3 weeks. I don't see it. I mean, I really think that right now it's a race between the top 4, and the only reason I'm keeping you in there, no offense,
because I'm in the room, baby.
No, it actually doesn't have anything to do with that, because I'd tell you straight to your face if I didn't think that you had a chance. But no, I just, the 82 number. I mean, you're still. I mean, what is that? 60 something away.
62. Yeah.
I mean, you're really on the borderline.
Mhm.
Like, I really do think it's a 3-person race as long as
There's still 11 weeks, Austin.
I know
There's
that.
still 11 weeks.
Yeah, but okay, but
We ruled out the bottom 3. We said the bottom 3 are done.
Yeah, we didn't. Go
I'm
that
telling
hard.
I'm telling you, mark it down. Hot take: nobody from 5 down has any single chance of winning this league right now, and I bet
If
money
you're
on
wrong,
it.
if you're wrong, you do a shot on the podcast.
That's it.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
I'll do it now. I don't care.
That's a standard. That's a standard bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 2 shots. I don't care. Whatever. I'll take 3 shots. Whatever. Yeah, I'll do 10
That's a
push-ups.
side
Whatever. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, mark
What
it
do
down.
you have to do if he's right?
Same thing.
Well, I hope he's right because I'm in the top 5.
Right.
So
They'll top, like I said, the people in the top 4 have a chance. Everyone from 5 down does not have a chance,
Man,
in my
that's-
opinion.
I love how convenient that is. That we're all 3
We're all
in
in
the
the
top.
room.
Well, I mean, to be fair, us 3,
I mean, there's a big gap here.
there's a huge
There's
gap.
a-
Well,
There's a gap here,
yeah.
Yeah.
but there's a gap here too. We
Yeah.
were talking about this earlier. How this is kind of a tier up here, and then
Mhm.
like this is a tier, and then like the bottom 3 is a tier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't, and I don't want to say this to discourage anybody from trying, because it's not fun for anyone when people don't try or even participate at all. John, he's not going to listen to this, so it doesn't matter.
Right,
He'll never hear this. He won't have any idea that I'm even talking shit about him. But it's literally just not fun. Like why are you even doing this if
Agreed.
you're not going to try? And I think there's something to be said for us 3 being in the top 4 right now, just because I think us 3 pay attention to it a lot.
Well, I
But-
will refute that just based on myself, because without my game last week, I would be in a very different position. Or without my game last night, I would be in a very different position. So
Yeah, that's true. I
But-
mean, I don't see
What I
many
will
more
say to you-
60-point weeks.
right.
what I will say to you, Austin, is so Brian, the very last person here, his estimated average every single week is 22.5 points.
Honestly, I hope Brian proves me wrong. He just fucking wins. Like I honestly hope.
That'd
It
be
would-
amazing.
That's what I'm saying. It would be absolutely
a great
incredible.
story.
I hope that I'm 100% wrong, but I just really don't see it.
It's not impossible, is
It's
what
not
we're saying.
impossible.
That's what we're
It's not
saying.
impossible.
No,
It's extremely
anything is
unlikely,
possible.
but it's not impossible.
Yeah, but you want a hot take for radio? Here it is.
Please.
Top 4 have a chance. Nobody else has a chance.
I mean, I like the bold predictions.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm not going to come in here with not a bold prediction.
Good, because we are softies over here that just said the bottom 3 might be out.
Yeah, we're too.
No.
Yeah, well, it's part of our job as the podcasters, the hosts of the podcast, to do what we can to make sure that everybody feels included, which is why we've said multiple times that it's always an open invitation. Unfortunately, I guess you guys just don't see those posts, or maybe.
No, dude, they just don't care.
No one cares. No one watches. No one
Dude,
cares.
nobody. Yeah, it's tough, man.
That's
it's
all
a
right.
tough life. I think the only episode I missed was when I was down in Florida, and I hope I get an
you
excuse.
are probably our most loyal. You and Brian
Yeah.
are our most loyal listeners.
I feel like Cam has been listening.
Cam too.
Yeah,
That's
mhm.
true.
I feel like Cam's
That's
been
true.
Marianne,
I really love the participation from Cam, at least in the chat. Like, it's so much fun.
He's
Like,
the opposite of you because he loves the draft value stat. He
Yeah,
loves it.
Cam is the anti-Austin when it comes
no,
to strategy.
and honestly, the draft value stat, there is merit to it, and I think that I'm probably.
Ooh, making
I
progress.
think that I'm probably doing pretty well in
You
it. I
always
have,
do well in the
I,
draft value.
yeah.
You're doing second best. You have 19 draft value points. John has 23, and then no one else is like.
and you
even
can just
close.
say, well, you're in first because John isn't actively trying, so his
It's-
draft value is less important.
Here's the other thing. I don't know how everybody picks their players. Like, I don't know if do you just get some random player in your head and you just pick it, but like, you know that you can go to the play, like on Yahoo on your phone, you can go to all available players and you can sort it by projected points for that week.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, a lot of that is pretty. It's not like you're not going to get like that exact amount of points.
with a lot of grains
It
of
helps-
salt.
No, what
It
I'm
helps
saying
with
is in
defense.
terms
it
of
helps knowing if the defense how strong.
Yeah.
the
I'm
defense-
talking
for
about in
people like
terms of
me who
orders.
Don't know, it helps.
yeah. So for me, I'm always looking
I
at
will say, Cam Newton was number 2 last week.
Yeah, Cam is one of those guys because he's one of those dudes that could have like 3 rushing touchdowns, and then you're just screwed.
This is why this is why Cam is there, Gator. It's because of plays like this.
But also, Cam doesn't have any receivers.
Well, in this case, his receivers were the Redskins DBs.
Oh,
Well, he got hit on that too. I mean,
Oh well.
yeah.
I know he got hit, but still, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, a pick is a pick is a pick. They all count one, as Coach D'Antonio likes to say. It doesn't matter. But
this was a great arm punt.
yeah, great arm punt, exactly. My guy Monte Nicholson, another Michigan State guy, shout out.
But Cam didn't even end up on the top 3 undrafted. That's what I'm saying. Yahoo put him as the second most valuable pick this week, and he was not even close.
So in terms of what I do, I'm looking. There's 12 teams in the league. I'm generally looking at the top 15 to 18 of the projected point totals, and I'm picking from those quarterbacks.
I'm with you.
I'm not looking at guys that are projected to score 3 points a week. Like, I'm just not. Like, you can just count those out. So that's a free tip for all of you out there. Let's be smart about this. That's all I have to say about that.
Every single year, a big problem we have is we just hold on to these names.
It's all about these names. Like C.J. Beathard. Yo, C.J. Beathard is
Trubisky.
balling out,
We were
bro.
talking mass shit about him before you got here
Oh, were you?
because I don't watch football.
So let me just say about C.J. Beathard. So in college, he played at Iowa, and they just run the ball like 90 times a game, and he was a solid quarterback. I never thought he was an NFL guy, and he gets in the league, and last year he blows, right? And this year, Kyle Shanahan has really, once Garoppolo went down, has really helped him with his offensive scheme. I mean, these young coaches are incredible. I just, C.J. Beathard is not as bad as everybody thinks he is.
I chose him 2 weeks ago. He got me 22 points, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad pick by any means, but look, I mean, what is that, 9 or something, or I can't see what that is.
0.
0.
0.1.
0.1.
Because he was
Yeah.
16 for
And
23.
yeah, and then it was 22 and then 12 before that. I mean, I'm not saying you don't pick him, but
No,
like everybody
I
just
agree.
assuming that he's going to be like a top 3 pick every week, like no chance.
Same with
Well,
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Trubisky is up and
Before
down,
we
but
move
he's
on and
not
talk
a
about
guarantee.
Trubisky, one thing that I find interesting is that the Niners play the Rams this week, and we were talking about how the Rams are supposed to have a really good defense, but
Yes and
by
no.
the numbers, they have not been very good.
Their run defense has been great. Their pass defense has been atrocious.
Okay, so that's good to know because according to Yahoo, if you look at his projections here, they're projecting him to score the most points in our league this coming week. For their whole season, compared to all the other teams they're playing, they got 17 for this week.
Yeah.
So-
So first of all, you have to understand the personnel on the Rams defense, right? So you have Aaron Donald, who's universally known as the best defensive lineman in the NFL right now.
Other
You
than
have
Geno Atkins, of course.
Well, straight up, Geno Atkins is a top 3 to 5
I know, it's a
defensive
toss-up
lineman. I
between
mean,
those two.
seriously, he's playing out of his mind. But yeah, Aaron Donald, universally known as number 1 interior defense lineman. They have freaking Ndamukong Suh right next to
Don't
him.
forget about him.
Like Ndamukong Suh, but people forget like he was like the best player in the NFL for a while.
Yeah, he was.
And then they also have this dude, Michael Brockers, who, if you don't pay attention to the NFL, you probably wouldn't know him. He's just some random guy. He is probably a top 15 to 20 defensive. I mean, their defensive line is freaking loaded.
Yeah.
The thing is that their linebackers aren't very good. They've had some injuries in their secondary. So Aqib Talib, who's their number 1 corner, has been injured. Marcus Peters has been getting beat. He's in a new defensive scheme from what he was playing in Kansas City, Kansas City's defense is,
Rough.
phew, man. But yeah, like Marcus Peters is a guy.
It's funny you say that.
who keeps
Yahoo
getting
has
beat.
them listed as 8th best defense in the
Kansas City
So
That
it's
must just be by yards.
It's
or something. I don't know. I
The
don't know how they rank
matchup.
that.
Okay, so if you're a subscriber to the Athletic, which I am, I know you are,
Shout
Tony.
out Athletic.
Athletic's great. In terms of paid content, I think it's the best stuff out there. But they have a fantasy section now where they just have writers who specifically write about fantasy. And one of the articles after week 3 or 4 of the season was, don't pay attention to these stupid green, yellow, red defensive like matchup statistics. Like the way that these fantasy sites, calculate that, their algorithm is not. It doesn't take into account the fact that like human error and like it just accounts for what happened in the previous game.
Yeah.
It has no effect on what's going to happen in the next game.
Right.
Like the Ravens, for example, are probably listed as one of the top defenses on Yahoo, right? Well, the Bengals fucking scored 28 points in a single half against them. You know, so the Bengals have a good offense, but I'm just
it's hard to predict.
It's all about matchups is the thing, and injuries. Like people don't understand. Like
that's true.
Like Jimmy Smith, who's Baltimore's best corner, wasn't playing against the Bengals that week, and that's part of the reason why AJ Green had 3 touchdowns in that game. So
it's not like you think about injuries on the offensive side of the ball. It's like, okay, the Bengals don't. AJ Green's not playing this week. That's going to hurt him, but
not in real life.
Right. I'm just using that as an example. Like, AJ Green's not playing, so that's going to hurt them. But on defense, like, especially for somebody who doesn't know all of, who the DBs are for some fucking other team that's not the Bengals, like, I don't know. I'm not keeping track of all the guys who are injured on their defense. Like, I have no idea. And they could have 3 starters out, and that could make a huge difference. So
it does make a huge difference. And and what I'm saying, essentially what I'm getting back to is take all of that with a grain of salt. It's like everything is a nuanced conversation. It's never black and white. And just like politics, just like anything else, it's always nuanced and it's never black and white. And just because Yahoo says this, that, or the other doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. So,
there's a lot that goes into it.
That's a great point.
You got any more clips
I have
to show
more
us?
clips, but I don't know. We've been going for kind of a long time here.
Let's check these clips out. I won't talk too much.
Okay, I won't show all of them. This is a pretty good one. This is Troy Aikman demonstrating his years of concussions.
By the way, this is the last side note I'm going to go on. So the Thursday Night Football game last night was atrocious. It was 45-10. Well, I mean, atrocious, and it was also highly entertaining at the same time. Not competitive whatsoever. Very entertaining to watch. Just the complete meltdown of the Arizona Cardinals. It was very funny. Troy Aikman at the end of the game, it's in the 4th quarter, and why I still have this on my television, couldn't tell you. I don't know. I was bored. I was on Twitter screwing around. Like, I just had this on in the background. Joe Buck, who's a play-by-play guy, had mentioned he went on someone's podcast to discuss some backup player that was in the game at that point. Troy Aikman literally says, "Who even listens to podcasts?"
I did hear about that.
And it's like, dude, how fucking out of touch are you? Like, you don't even understand. Like, Joe Buck was like, "Oh boy, like you have a lot to learn."
Even Joe Buck.
Yeah, Joe Buck.
That was a dumb thing to say, and Joe Buck's the king of saying dumb things. So
yeah. I think Joe Buck gets shit on a lot unnecessarily, but at the same time, he puts it on himself.
For baseball, he's garbage. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
about
that's
Joe
fair.
Buck. So this was said. This is Wendell Smallwood running back for the Eagles. This is what Troy Aikman had to say about him.
Small what?
What? We talk about his
sorry.
small wood?
Yeah.
Was that the CTE kicking in?
I think what he was trying to say was he was trying to make a funny pun about the fact that his name is Smallwood, but he plays big. But he said that we talk about his small wood.
Troy, let me just tell you, nobody talks about his small wood.
This, except for you, Troy. This was a
weirdo.
Pretty cool looking interception that Andrew Luck threw that wasn't his fault, but still kind of a funny play.
Oh
well.
Oh my God.
So that is one of those times when you're just like, well, my running back really fucked me on that one. Marlon Mack just with the stone hands here.
I mean, that's just terrible.
By the way, right in the hands.
Andrew Luck is an A+ pick pretty much every week too.
He doesn't really get picked.
You know what's in? I've been noticing that, and they throw the ball so much because they're always losing and they suck, and they don't. And their whole team is injured. They don't. T.Y. Hilton hasn't been in there.
Luck
They're literally
never made it in the top 3 undrafted this year.
Really? Let's not.
That's really surprising
that
to me.
Andrew Luck is also a shell of his former self. I think, and that injury that he had is now, I don't think he'll ever be as good as he once was. That's what I'll say about Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's really sad because he was he was one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time coming out of college, and that shoulder injury really fucked up his whole career. I think that he has been playing pretty well this year, but the Colts are just so bad.
So it looks like his highest scoring 2 games this year have been 10 points.
That's
but
it?
I will say he's going up against they have
his highest scoring games have only been 10?
Oh, sorry. That's projected. Sorry. He had 19 last week, and that's the highest one. But he's going up against Buffalo this week, and Buffalo has a pretty solid defense when it comes to pressuring.
Does he
the
usually get
quarterback.
in double digits though, or no?
6, 14, 11, 1, 12, 19.
Man, if I'm in the bottom half of the draft, Andrew Luck is somebody who I'm considering. That's all I'm saying.
Three of those scores have been above average.
Yeah. So Buffalo, what a weird team Buffalo is.
Buffalo has
so
extremely high quarterback pressure rate rankings.
Yep.
Speaking of Buffalo, and speaking of pick sixes,
They do have a good defense.
this is just prime Nathan Peterman right here, as who I think is hands down the worst quarterback that I've ever watched.
Do you mean
play.
the Peter Man?
The Peterman?
Shout out Bomani Jones
I-
because that's one of the funniest nicknames I've ever heard. The Peter Man.
I don't know if he's just so clearly not.
Did you see his quote after the game?
What? No.
It made me want to vomit. Look it up, and I want you to read it because
Okay.
because
Let me show
yeah,
you,
show
okay,
the
let's
clip.
watch this first. Situation, a minute and a half left in the game. They're on their own 25.
Tied.
It's a tie game.
Yep, trying to go up,
A
take the
situation
lead.
where you absolutely cannot make a turnover.
Also, he allegedly told his coach and his entire offense,
I
got this, right before he goes out on the field. And pick six, see you later.
I mean,
The dude, Jonathan Joseph is celebrating as soon as he catches it 'cause he already knows.
that pass had no chance
The Peter
to
Man.
do anything other than go directly the other direction. I mean,
Peter Man.
right from the snap. He's looking directly at his receiver
Fam,
right here,
it's
and
not
never looks off him and just throws it right to Jonathan Joseph.
It was a good defensive call. If you look at that play, there wasn't going to be anybody open. He was about to get smacked in the face. But you have to throw that ball away. You have to throw it over his head, out of bounds. You cannot do that. Anyways, right after this, or he threw another interception either immediately after this or immediately before this. I didn't watch this game.
Yeah.
But he threw like two right in a row. I knew that. And, dude, you have to pull I don't even want to screw the
right, let me-
quote up. The quote is the most pathetic thing in the biggest cop-out I've ever heard in my entire life.
While he's looking that up, how do you feel about Derek Anderson taking his spot?
Holy
What do we feel
shit,
about that?
man. When was the last time Derek Anderson started a football game?
It's not funny. I'm not laughing.
Yeah. I didn't try to get my ass kicked. He said he essentially says that he doesn't let football define him and he's a child of God if you can but the quote is it's so pathetic, dude. It's such a cop out because what are you going to do? Challenge somebody on his religion like after the game? Like fuck you for bringing that up. You fucking suck as a quarterback. You being a child of God has nothing to do with your job that you're doing, and we're asking you how shitty you are at your fucking job. We're not asking you about your fucking God.
Just got to keep improving. This is like 5 minutes long. Oh, this is old, I think.
Yeah,
that's old. Never mind.
Look, the quote from last week is literally, I'm paraphrasing. It's something to the effect of, I don't let football. This is after he single-handedly loses the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let football define me as who I am. I'm a child of God, and I put God first, and my religion is the most important thing. And just totally fucking deflects the fact that, hey, man, this isn't about your religion. This isn't about you being a child. This is about the fact that
He
are.
obviously knows that he's not. That he's done.
He should be out of the league for
right.
fucking ever.
He
Yeah,
knows that.
and that's what that quote means. If you say that after a game, you are never allowed to start ever again. Ever. You are not allowed to play again. That's a fucking fact. They should have cut him right there.
I agree.
I would rather have Jamarcus Russell on my fucking team right now, who's probably 400 pounds, than fucking the Peter Man.
I think the worst thing is Derek Anderson probably signed his contract thinking, I can just kind of coast this year and be the third string quarterback and just kind of basically be a coach. And now he's got to actually play football.
Hey, remember that time that the Bills decided to trade A.J. McCarron for some reason?
Yeah, man. What the hell?
Remember that time they signed him to a contract in the offseason, then traded him away?
Although we could see A.J. McCarron by the end of the year the way Derek Carr's playing.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm not certain.
The
but I
Raiders
think-
are
it's a Gruden
terrible.
problem, not
Yeah,
a
it's
Derek Carr
definitely a
problem.
Gruden
I
problem.
think Taylor's going to end up taking Derek Anderson first pick this week. I'm not sure about
Who's
that.
Who's
who's
a great
Buffalo
pick.
playing again?
I don't think it matters.
You know what, Gator? You're probably exactly right.
Buffalo has got the Patriot. Wait.
Oh, he's playing the Patriots?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
fuck.
Wait, are they have a bye? Oh, sorry. They play the Colts.
Oh, I was about to say, if they're playing the Patriots, you fucking hammer Derek Anderson without even thinking.
Yeah.
The Colts defense is trash, and I still think Derek Anderson will be probably one of the top QBs this week. So
Definitely.
yeah, safe thing.
Well, there's just we have to go through all these, but there's 2 clips that I wanted to show. This one being my favorite clip from this past week. Oh no spoilers. Let me switch this over here. So this was just the best catch made this week, and it was by a punter. It's tough to see, but the punter leaps
Johnny
up
Hecker
and makes a fucking one-handed catch on the sidelines.
Do you guys watch those For the Brand videos that Pat McAfee puts out?
No.
Oh, they're fucking fantastic.
You have to bring us a segment next time.
Dude, I totally will. I mean, it'll just be like Pat McAfee, like embedded tweets of him talking about kickers and punters, but they're all hilarious.
So that was one. This was a good one to end on. So this was the Buccaneers almost pulling off an insane lateral win here, but they fucked it up.
This
Spoilers.
this would have been the greatest ending to a football game in the history of the NFL. Skirt.
Oh man.
Watch this. He's wide open. Look.
Oh no.
Literally would have walked into the end zone to win the game,
Oh,
and it goes
my.
through his fucking legs. He's so mad. And Thom Brenneman on the call.
Thumb can't
Yeah,
believe it.
that's on you, man.
I don't know if that's on Deshaun Jackson. I mean, the ball hits on the next to his
I mean,
feet. and goes.
you gotta stop it.
Look at Jameis so confident in this skirt.
Oh.
I mean,
a weird bounce.
No, I mean, if you look where it bounced, it was like one of those ones in baseball as a shortstop or as like a third baseman
It's a short hop.
that hits. It's a short hop and it hits right in the wrong spot and it goes
Bounced,
right.
like backwards.
Yep, it bounced right over his hand, underneath his legs, and it was just the worst. I mean, it was just
That would've been so
if it was
awesome.
1 inch either way, he's catching that and walking in the
All
end
right,
zone.
Tony, let's bring up the 2-week-old Who's That QB that Austin
Oh
has
yeah,
already
I almost
guessed.
forgot.
Oh, sorry.
No, we wanted the guesses. We need guesses. We don't have a new one anyway, so we're just gonna reveal who
Honestly,
this is.
I forget who it was.
Oh man, Tony's got to take some time to bring it.
Boo.
Oh, I thought I must have closed it. Sorry.
By the way, did you guys see that New England fan who got banned for life from
That
the
was
stadium?
actually, sure, since you brought it up. This is why you got banned.
I'm so glad that this person got banned.
It's not. You're not showing everyone.
Thank
Tony.
you. It's this guy right here. Tossed beer on Tyreek Hill after he scored a touchdown.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that.
What a fucking scumbag.
Bro, you want to know what's funny? If you were on the other side of that fence and Tyreek Hill was standing right in front of you, you're way too much of a pussy to do that.
100%.
Like, and guess what? Tyreek Hill, his agent's Drew Rosenhaus, who's one of the best agents in all of sports. He came out and said that they're going to sue that guy. So, anyways,
I mean,
have fun with that asshole.
It just goes to show. Well, and they'll be able to get something out of him because if you're sitting in these seats, you're not a poor person.
Yeah, you either have money or you won some really dope tickets from someone.
So fuck that guy, basically. And let me find this.
Yeah, you bring that up.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what just crept in my head? I was thinking about kickers, which is a weird thing to think about. What if we secretly did a bad kicker fantasy league?
Oh man.
That is a hilarious idea.
How would we even?
It would have to. I don't know if you'd be able to do punters. You would probably only have. It'd have to be strictly place kickers, like field goal kickers.
Yeah.
But you could for sure totally do it.
That'd be kind of funny.
It would be. It would be really low scoring because the percentage of kicks made is pretty high. But this year specifically, there has been so many missed kicks and just
Could you
botches.
get like extra points for like kicks that mean a lot more, like end of the game?
Yeah, like Graham Gano kicking the game-winning 63-yard field goal. That's like -50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of that would be a lot more subjective. We'd have to pay attention a lot more.
Oh yeah,
That'd be-
100%.
But that's a great idea. That's a fun idea.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Got it.
Who's that quarterback?
Still
Yeah.
got to get that jingle down.
I got to work on blurring this a little better.
How do you? Oh.
It's funny because I guessed who this was last week, and I already forget, but I think I remember who it is now.
We have no clues because it's pretty easy. But
and also, no one's watching. So
but who do you think, Austin?
Like I said, I completely forget, but I'm pretty sure it was Christian Hackenberg.
It's not.
That was your first.
No, that was my first guess last
But it's
time.
not. That's not who it is.
Wait, but what was the clue that you said last time, and that was how I
That
got
he's a
it?
current. That he's a relevant player. Like he's a more like Tony's been choosing a bunch of old guys.
He's
This
rostered.
This is a new guy.
He's currently rostered.
Well,
Oh,
he's
is
not
that
anymore.
Josh Allen?
Yep,
Yeah. there
Wait,
you
he's not anymore.
go. Well, he's
Josh
hurt.
Allen.
He's hurt.
he's out. Well, okay, he's rostered. I'm
injured.
sorry. I'm
Rostered,
sorry.
yeah. Cut
I'm
him.
sorry. My bad.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's Josh Allen.
They kind of look the
Um,
same. That's really funny that I said Christian Hackenberg again. That was who I guessed first last time.
Yeah, so I chose him
What a
because
cutie.
he was doing so terrible, absolutely terrible, and now we have an even better option, Derek Anderson. So,
That's right.
Man.
Old Derek.
Can we? Okay, I'm sorry, but before we end this podcast, I mean, it's already gone on for a long time, so what's an extra 2 minutes? Can we please play the clip of Derek Anderson getting upset at the media after he?
Of course.
Please, thank you.
Actually, I'll do you one better. I don't know if anybody actually watched this that I posted in the group me today. I got no likes, so probably nobody
do you
did,
somehow
but,
not have to like verify it with your phone number every single time you go online to do it? Group me.
it asked me that a lot. You mean like
Almost
on the
every
desktop when you
yeah.
go
So
on
every
it?
single
Yeah.
time I go to GroupMe on the desktop, it sends my phone a password, and I have to like type it in and shit. It's kind of annoying.
Maybe I didn't post it. I thought I did.
By the
Well,
way, I geeked out at that GIF that you posted.
wow, I could have. Man, was I drunk this morning or something? No,
Probably.
because it's sober October. That's unfortunate. Maybe I posted it in the other one. Did I post it in here?
Speaking of sober October, guys,
No.
I had a really not great beer at the pub, and I wasn't happy about
what
it.
was it?
It was this English beer, and it was called like the old.
English beers suck.
It was like the old sickled hen or something, old fickle hen or some weird shit like that. And it was a funny name, and it was an English pale ale, but it had no carbonation. Does that just mean it was flat, or does that mean it's a shitty beer?
No, sometimes, especially English styles are served lower carbonation.
Ah, man, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I hate low carbonation beers. I hate them.
I don't want like a super high I don't want like sparkling
It
water.
wasn't nitro, was it?
No, it was an English pale ale.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Here it is. I found it. Okay, so this is one of my favorite pieces of content that's been produced this season.
It's fantastic.
So whoever made that, you're a funny motherfucker.
That's really
And
good.
we love you. Really, honestly, that one line was the only thing I wanted to.
Go out there and get embarrassed. It's not funny.
I
You
love
think
that.
you think I want to do that?
It's like, what were you laughing about? I wasn't laughing. Well, the
Well,
camera, saw you
laughing.
I put my heart and soul into this.
I'm
Okay,
done.
but we saw you laughing. What are you talking about? Ugh.
And honestly, it was like probably like like somebody farted or something, and he was like like it was probably something
yeah.
stupid,
Sometimes like you know how sometimes you're having a bad day
and you just laugh
like,
it off, and you're like, "Fuck."
You go to lunch, you come back to your desk, and you like set the drink down, and it like tips over and spills on your desk.
You're
and
just
you
like,
just kind of
"God
like
damn it."
you just kind of chuckle because you're just like, of
I'll
course,
never forget,
of
I
course
was-
that
Of course that
happens.
I was
Like,
playing a golf match, and we got crushed by St. X. Absolutely crushed. And we're the JV team, and me and a buddy of mine are the two worst players on the JV team, even though we're way older than all the other kids.
Oh well.
And we get to the bus after this shellacking, and we get in the back and just start cracking up. And our coach gets back there and rips us a new one. He's like, "You think this is funny?" And my friend,
Yeah.
who was way less scared than I was like, "Yeah, we just got our ass kicked."
right.
That was like the time when I was playing 6th grade St. Susanna basketball, and for some reason, I want to say it was Coach Hudepool. Coach, Pat Hudepool's dad. He
Who
he
I will
entered
say
us.
once said that Pat Hudepool was the best player in the city.
Anyways,
LOL.
anyways, anyways, he entered us in this AAU tournament against like all of these dudes who were like 6'3" and like could dunk, and we were like these 12-year-old like white kids who like the C team, like
That
we
couldn't
weren't.
dunk.
Yeah, it wasn't even like the St. Susanna A team, and it wasn't like the St. Susanna B team. It was the St. Susanna C team.
Right.
Right.
Definitely can't dunk.
Definitely. We literally, I don't know if I told the story. We lost 98-2. That was a thing.
Oh,
That was a fucking
man.
score, and it was on my mother's birthday. It was at the Friars Club. I'll never fucking forget
Oh,
this as
happy
long as I live.
birthday.
Well, yeah, and my mom and dad, they went out. They had like dinner reservations, so at halftime they left.
Good.
And I think, I
We
think
can't watch this
I think
shit
it was like
anymore.
AJ Schoppacher's family took me home. I was really good friends with him back then.
Austin,
and,
get your own ride home. That was terrible.
Yeah, right. I was, by the way, I was the one who scored the 2. it was a
Posting up on the block.
nope, no. I caught the ball at the free throw line, turn around, fade away, shot it over a guy who was about 8 inches taller than me, and banked it in for
Crowd
2
went
points.
Insane.
It was the most. It was funny. So after the game, you just have to laugh that off. I mean,
Right.
literally, I'm not kidding. The score was 98-2. That was
Yeah.
a real thing.
There's nothing you can do but laugh.
Yeah.
All right, we
Anyways,
got to wrap this
love
up.
you
It's
guys.
It's been quite the podcast here.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Shout out to Marianne and Andy Crone who had birthdays this week.
Ah,
Shout out
happy
to
birthday.
myself.
For his birthday.
That was just so I
birthday.
could bring that up. It was yesterday. You
Happy
know.
birthday.
Birthday. We'll be celebrating
you.
tomorrow.
Yeah. I think that's all we got. So we're
Go
back at
green.
it.
Fuck Michigan.
Fuck them.
It's Michigan State week,
Oh, shit.
and let's fucking go.
Let's go. Thanks for watching. My name's Gator Shran.
I'm Tony Yoko.
And I'm just a guy.
Just a guy. Thanks, everyone. See ya.